everybody. Welcome to another episode of Milwaukee Beer Review. I'm Josh.
I'm Ross.
And we've got a brand new Milwaukee brewery today that we're going to showcase some of their great pale ales that they have available. Some of these are seasonal, some of these are year-round beers, but we'll get into that, I think, as we kind of dive into some of these beers. So, a little bit about Black Husky Brewing Company. They were started in 2010, actually, so they've been around for a little while, about 11 years. They started in Pembine, Wisconsin, and really kind of as a tribute to sled dogs. So they were part of upkeeping a kennel for sled dogs, I'm assuming for like the Iditarod Huskies that you see, kind of the Alaskan Iditarod. So basically they kind of took this concept of sled dogs and they built different beers around it and started brewing different beers, which is kind of a cool concept. I'm a huge dog lover. We've got two golden retrievers here. You've got a dog.
Yeah, and the bar is dog friendly, so you actually can bring your dog, which is pretty cool. So
yeah, pretty awesome. We met Tim and Tony, the co-owners of Black Husky Brewing Company. Great people. Got to chat with them. Couldn't have been nicer. Fantastic. Got to spend a little bit of time with them today talking through kind of their process. One of the things I really like about their brewery is that they're straightforward. Like they're not trying to do anything crazy. These are, your standard beer styles and good stuff that they're putting together. So really awesome. A couple of updates. They do have their primary location in River West today. So really great place. You can come in, try some of their beers on site today as we get a little bit warmer, as we get towards spring. There's going to be some outdoor stuff, and they're actually in the process of updating their outdoor seating area with some fire pits and some ways to kind of make these colder times of the year a little bit more bearable for people to enjoy some beer on site. So really, really awesome stuff. So we're going to dive right into the first beer here, and the first one is their Elite Trials.
Trials.
So
it's Elite Trials, which is actually a pretty cool series that they're doing. What they're basically doing is they partnered with Yakima Chief Hops, which is Yakima in Washington State, and it's through the HBC, which is the hop breeding company, which basically what they're doing is they're sending out experimental hops out to Black Husky is one of them, and other brewers, we're not sure which ones actually they're sending them out to, but they don't have names at this point. I believe it's a single hop ale, and this is hop number, it's HBC 520. So it's one of those things where if the hop and people like it, they will then provide a name. So again, this is series 4 of 7, so they've done previous ones in the past. So the interesting thing is this one's coming in at 7.1% and about 40 IBUs, so not super bitter. No, it's definitely more of a pale ale. It's not an IPA or anything. So 40 IBUs is pretty low on the spectrum there. So this one's gonna be interesting. We got to actually talk to Tim about this one.
He wasn't a big fan.
He wasn't. So he was brutally honest with us, which I really appreciate. And he said it wasn't what he was expecting. So I'm really curious on this one. He did say it's been kind of a polarizing beer. So some people have enjoyed it, others have not. So I'm not really sure what to expect with this one.
Yeah. So the hops are experimental. We don't even know what they are. We're going to get this thing in the glass and let you know what we think.
All right, so let's get this one open. So we're going to pour it right down the center. I do want to see the head on this. I kind of want to see how it carbonates. Nice carbonation, what you expect out of an IPA. Looks real good.
That's
see what that color comes. So a little hazier than I think I was expecting. I expect this to be a little more of an amber color, but nice hazy color to it. But no, it looks good.
All right, Ross, let's get a little nose on this thing. All right. Definitely got some solid hop character on the nose.
Yeah.
Considering the 40 IBUs and the apparently deceitful limited amount of hops in this beer.
One of the things I smelled right away, I thought I smelled a citrusy, but now I'm not getting that anymore. I'm trying to figure out what I am smelling. My bad.
Yeah, you can say hell. That's fine. I mean, it smells like a pretty standard pale ale. There's nothing crazy with this. I'm not getting a ton of bitterness on the nose. The hop character's there, though. I mean, but nothing all that unique about this beer.
No.
I'm curious at 40 IBUs how much bitterness we actually get on the palate of this beer, though. Let's give it a shot.
Cheers.
Cheers. Oh, Mm-hmm. I got to give that a second swig.
I want to hear what you say.
It's tame.
I think tame's being polite.
Yeah, but it's almost like you take that first sip and you expect like the bitterness of the hops to like come through the front end of the beer, and it's almost like you feel the drop off happen where there's just like almost no bitterness. Like I get like a little bit of bitterness right on the front end, and then it's like it totally drops off.
I get what you're saying. Beer. It's everything you get on the front end, everything you get from the nose, it dissipates almost immediately. It's
surprising too because the nose on this, well, I don't know. I'm actually getting a decent amount of bitterness on the front end, but it does drop off quickly.
I'm not getting much.
I get a decent amount on the front end, but it's not. It's. I mean, I guess when I say decent amount, I'm drawing a comparison to the 40 IBU mark that's on this beer, and I'm expecting bitterness. So I mean, I'm getting a little bit of it on the front, but it drops off quickly. Like it's pretty tame.
Yeah, it is a pale. It's not an IPA.
Yeah, it's not an IPA. This is not.
That's one thing to think about. I think.
Right. If you're a hophead, this is probably not the beer for you. If you're we've talked about transition beers in the past. If you're going from light styles and trying to get into hoppier beers, this might be actually a great option.
It's actually not a bad call. So I think the one thing that I would like out of this, I think what would really put this beer over the edge of it is somewhat of a citrusy taste to it. And I think that would help. I think that would really enhance this one. But it's just that hop taste to me, it falls flat. It's real.
You know what, though? I'm just going to say this. At 7.1% ABV, this is not crazy, but it's still got some pretty heavy alcohol to it. This is pretty sessionable. Like, this is not going to, like, destroy your palate. It's not going to make you feel like everything else is insane. Like, this is right there for a sessionable pale ale, in my opinion.
A little high. I think it's high. I think if you want sessionable, you're looking at about a 5, a 4.5 to 5.
I'm just talking about the palate.
The palate,
I'm getting on the mouthfeel.
Yes, but if I'm going to drink a 7.1 though, or 7 or higher, I want a little bit more. I want a little more punch to it, and this is.
It's just weird though. Like you take that first sip, and it's just like the flavor dies. Mm-hmm. Like the bitterness dies. It's just like there's a quick drop off to this beer. It's interesting. Yeah. That hop, whatever the experimental hop is, number 520, interesting stuff. Yeah. There's not a lot of bitterness to it. Obviously, you can tell from the IBUs. So, interesting beer. I would put this into Untappd somewhere around a 3. I mean, there's nothing special about this beer. There's nothing great about this beer, but it's drinkable, and at 7.1%, I mean, I could see myself sessioning a couple of these and being okay with that. If it was the only thing I had, I'd be all right with it.
I'm going to give it, I mean, it's good. It's a well-made beer, but as far as the flavor profiles, I'm going to give it a 2.75. It's just not, it's not there for me. I think on the nose, I was expecting one thing, and as I tasted it to you, it's just anything you get on the nose, anything you get up front, it isn't there on the back end, and it's that back end part I think really makes the beer, and it just isn't there. So
fair enough. Yeah. All right, so what we got up next from Black Husky is the Spruce. So this is a year-round beer. Mm-hmm. So this is available all year.
I believe this is one of their flagship beers.
Yeah, one of the flagships.
Yeah,
so this is nicknamed Lothar. I'm not sure exactly how you pronounce it. But they name their flagship beers based off of dogs that were part of the sled dog kennel. So this one is Lothar, and I'm going to read it because it is so phenomenal.
The descriptions are great.
So listen up closely, kids. So reminiscent of the essence of pine wafting in the breeze as you stroll through the forest on a cool, crisp winter's evening. What? Really? Lothar the Biter, which is his nickname, would sooner well bite you than listen to you extol the virtues of the pine forest. This Black Husky innovation is not so subtle, and it's not meant to be. Brewed with locally harvested spruce tips, so a little pine needle, and tracking in at 106 IBUs, this aggressive double IPA won't leave you wondering if you caught a whiff of pine. Rather, you'll know you bulldozed through the forest and came out on the other side. The dark side. The Black Husky side. So I'm I'm very interested to see what this... I don't think I've had Spruce before. You say you have.
I think I have years ago. So, yeah.
Okay.
It's a unique flavor.
In comparison to what we just had, Lothar, or the Spruce, is 106 IBUs. So we're at 66 more IBUs. So that's international bittering units for those of you watching that aren't as familiar. So this should be a pretty bitter beer. So I'm curious to see what this is. Let's get it in the glass.
Yep. All right, so let's get this open. So this one does come in at 8.6%. It is a double IPA. So I think that would be partially why we're going to get a little more bitterness. Lots of head.
Yeah, right down the center. That is about a fist's worth of head, Ross.
Yeah. We'll try down the side this time. But a little more of a dark amber color. I think when you get more of a traditional IPA, this is what you're going to get. It's not hazy, it's not New England, it's a true IPA. And this is what you're going to see out of a true IPA. Is that nice kind of slightly amber color, a little bit darker than you see out of your other IPAs that you see around town now. All
right, Ross, get a little nose on this one. Again, as you stated, 8.6% ABV on this, 106 IBUs, so this is going to be bitter, so I'm curious what we got.
So this, to me, is a traditional, it's an IPA, and that's why I'm not getting a lot of spruce. I'm not getting that pine smell.
I am. I totally am on the nose. Totally am. Yeah, I definitely get pine needles, that evergreen pine scent on the nose.
I'm getting a good hops and pine have a very similar smell profile. I think spruce is, but this
I can smell the bitterness.
Yeah,
I mean, it's hard to smell bitter, but I can tell that
you understand what the smell is.
Right,
exactly. Exactly.
This is going to be interesting. I don't think I've had this, so let's give it a shot.
Right, cheers, buddy.
Cheers.
That's so good. So
totally different beer. Totally different beer than what we just had.
I think when I first had this, it was probably I was not a huge IPA fan years ago. I've got more into them. I enjoy them now and everything. So I think when I first had this, it wasn't one I really enjoyed because it was a pioneer IPA. This now, as I had this now, as I've had more IPAs, this is fantastic. It's so good. It's as a double IPA. It's very traditional and it's just got that nice piney hop taste to it. It's very good.
Is that pine traditional though? That's where I would argue with you. I don't know that pine flavor to this, the way that it's pronounced in this beer is traditional. I would say that's unique to this beer.
Fair enough.
Lothar would be happy.
He'd still bite you.
He would still bite me, but he would be very happy. Like my cat bit you
would he be
10
hoppy?
minutes ago. He would be hoppy.
Ah.
He would be hoppy. Yeah, well
puns.
Played. Puns, yeah. This is good. Really interesting. There's a lot of characteristics of a traditional double IPA in this, which is, I just kind of think, a signature of what Black Husky does. But that pine, that spruce to this beer is pronounced, and it makes this very unique in my opinion.
And again, this one comes in at 8.6%, and I wouldn't expect this to be 8.6%. It doesn't taste 8.6%, which is it's funny because we actually, when we were in the brewery earlier today, we got to try one of their beers they had on tap. It was which one do we have? Just another IPA.
Just another IPA
with a very funny emoji after, so I would definitely check it out. And that one came in 9.6%. And the first thing I said when I tried it to Tony when we were talking was I would never guess this is 9.6. And I feel the same way about this. Being at 8.6, this is very good. It's got a great flavor profile. So.
I don't think 8.6 is out of the question for this as I try it. Just there's enough bitterness here.
The bitterness, but
the spruce, the pine. I mean, it is the spruce, the pine needles. They hit you on the front end of the beer, you get it right away, and it doesn't dissipate. It continues all the way through the back end of the beer. It is really good.
It's a very flavorful beer.
If you're not interested in this, if you're not interested in that type of flavor, this might be a bit of a turnoff to you, just because it's there. It's fairly pronounced. It's right there in the beer.
This is a beer where if you order one, you're probably going to have to keep drinking this one, because to go to another beer after this, I think the flavor profiles of this might overpower anything you have after. But it's a very good beer, and especially going from this after we had the Yakima, the 520.
The Yakima, the 520.
520. Thank you.
You're welcome.
It's night and day.
It is
absolutely night and day. It's totally. That one, the flavor profiles that you got in the nose, everything fell off right away. You get heavy on the nose, heavy in the mouth, and it's very good. It's damn tasty.
Yeah, this is good. I would put this in Untappd around a 4. I like this. It's unique enough, but it's also traditional enough that I just think it just hits on all points you'd expect if you're getting a double IPA. And when I see 106 IBUs, that scares me a little bit because I'm expecting just a bitterness explosion, and that's not really my thing. Like, I like a good double IPA, but it's got to be within reason. This does not taste overly bitter. The bitterness is there, but it's solid. It's very tastefully done.
So I'm gonna give it a 4.25. Actually, I really enjoy this. I think it's such a flavorful beer, and it's very upfront with what it's gonna be. You're gonna get a bitter beer, and the spruce, the piney taste is gonna be there, and such a, to your point, it's such a slightly unique taste off your traditional double IPA that it kind of it branches out, and it's such a flavorful beer that I really enjoy this one.
Agreed. So last but not least, we've got Howler. So Howler is another beer. This is seasonal, from my understanding. This is an Imperial Pale Ale, and one of the unique characteristics of it is brewed with honey. So very interesting beer. I've got to read off the fantastic description. So Howler is another name from a dog from the sled dog kennel. So the description on this beer is, you don't name a brewery after a dog, Black Husky Brewing, named after Howler, unless he's an exceptional dog. Not that Howler listened exceptionally well, or was an exceptionally good sled dog. He sucked. But he was a dog who lived his life as well as we all hope to live, with grace, integrity, and character. Howler's philosophy could best be put in the words, don't tell me what I can and can't do. Oh, wait, there's a beer. Okay. I love that.
That's such a great description.
Howler once said to me, don't get pushed around, have some dignity, enjoy the buffet. A good beer, and take time for naps. And that is like my life philosophy. I love naps, I love beer, and I love buffets. They're fantastic. So, with that being said, we're going to dive into this beer. So this beer is the highest ABV of all three, 10%.
Yep.
This is, as I said, an Imperial Pale Ale brewed with honey. And this is part of the Beware of the Dog series. So really, really good stuff. And we're going to get it in the glass for you.
All right, so Howler. So to avoid the headiness, let's get some angle here. Still a decent amount of carbonation, and I don't know what I'm doing.
There's barely any head on that, Ross.
Shut up. So the coloring is somewhere between what we've had so far. It's not as dark as the spruce, but a little bit darker than the first one we had. Good carbonation, because I don't know what I'm doing, but...
Yes, you do. Yeah. It's all good. Looks good. All right. Last beer. This is the Howler. 10% ABV. Let's get a little nose on this thing. This one's got like the sweetest characteristics on the nose.
And that's the honey. I think that's the honey that you're getting there.
For sure. I like that scent on the nose. That's really, really good. I've got a pillowy head on mine. Someone didn't pour it properly. But it's a solid looking beer. Yeah, there's definitely honey coming through with this, sweetness. There's some bitterness coming through. You can smell the hop aroma on the nose.
I was thinking it sound weird, but that's fun to smell.
It is. It actually is really good. It smells really, really solid.
That's
all right.
That's interesting.
Let's give it a go.
So cheers, buddy.
Cheers. That's tasty. You got a ton of bitterness on the front end. Like as soon as you take this in, bitterness on the front end. It dissipates quickly, but the bitterness on this, I don't know what the IBU count is on this beer.
I tried to find that before we started the video, and I couldn't get a definitive. I thought it was somewhere in the 90s, though.
It's got to be somewhere close to what the Lothar was, because I'm definitely getting that level of bitterness on this. It does drop off fairly quickly, but the back end of the beer is still fairly bitter, so I would think it's got to be somewhere around 90 to 100 and drops off in the 50 to 40 range.
I'll say for me, the front end of this beer is very good. It's very tasty. That back end, though, that bitterness for me, it's too bitter. It's just it's too much coming off at the end, and I'm not sure what it is about it, but
I disagree with you. I think that back end bitterness is perfect, because if you're looking at a beer that's an Imperial Pale Ale like this, and you're looking for a bitter beer, which is what people that are going to drink this are looking for, that's on the nose where it's supposed to be. Like, that is solid and consistent.
And my argument isn't the make of the beer or the how well the beer is made. It's a personal preference palate. Like, for me, like this one, that back end of that is it's powerful.
I love it.
So
I love it. 4.25 on Untappd for me with this. I mean, this is really, really good. I love that bitterness on the back end that you get. It's not as insane as the front end bitterness is, but it's really solid all the way through. I really, really like this. And the honey adds a sweetness to the pale ale that you just don't necessarily get in a traditional Imperial style pale ale. Like this, the honey is definitely pronounced in this. Like, you don't get honey, but you get sweetness from the honey.
And I get more of that on the nose. I'm not getting that in the taste. And for me, I think the Imperial Pale Ale style is just it's new to me, because I've been thinking about this. I don't know if I've had an Imperial Pale Ale. I'm going to give this probably about 2.5. It's not for me.
Really? Interesting.
I think and I'm giving it 2.5 based on my taste in beer. It's not it's a very well made beer, and I think from an Imperial Pale Ale style, it's made very well. So if you like Imperial Pale Ales, this is a great beer for you. My personal palate, my personal taste, this is not one that I would seek out. It's so back end bitter, and it's back end. I guess it's not something I can see myself.
Welcome to the Milwaukee Beer Review channel, expanding our palates and seeing where we differentiate, because we both love our stouts, but this is definitely more up my alley, I think, than it is yours.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the Spruce is great. The Spruce is a fantastic beer, and it's from a double IPA standpoint, it's one of the better beers out there in this market. I absolutely think that's one to seek out. And if you ever see it at a brewery, definitely grab it. If you like Imperial Pale Ales, if you enjoy that, this is one. The Howler is definitely one to grab. For me, it's just not one that it's not one I enjoy. So
fair enough.
Yeah.
So where can you find this stuff?
So if you go to blackhusky.com or blackhuskybrewing.com, they have their menu up to date all the time. You can go into the brewery. They have a lot of beer to go. All the beers we got today was canned. They have other varieties there. You can definitely get canned or bottled.
Growler fills.
Growler fills as well, which is awesome that they do that. They'll do 32 or 64-ounce growlers. I would strongly suggest bringing in just a regular growler. As great as those CO2 growlers are, they can be kind of a pain in the butt to fill up. So just bring in your regular growlers. You can fill up the CO2 when you get home.
Don't bring in a milk jug.
Don't bring in a milk jug.
Fill a milk jug.
Yeah, so we found that out. Actually,
no, we didn't find out. Let's not say we found it out like we brought one in.
No. So
we've just heard people have tried.
Yeah. By law, they have to have a certain sticker warning on them. So just save yourself time. Bring in a regular growler. And again, Tony and Tim are fantastic people. It was great to talk with them today. Honestly, it was fun to chat with them and talk about the brewery and talk about what they have coming up. They have a lot of things coming out. We did the first one today. It's Series 4 of 7, so they got 3 more to go with that they're going to release. I think through the year, they said. I don't think they had a set schedule with COVID to kind of throwing everything off, but definitely look out for those, because from talking to Tony today, they have some really fun stuff on the horizon, which I'm really excited about.
Yeah. So another great Milwaukee brewery, checkbox. More to come from Black Husky, I'm sure, as we continue throughout the year and the beer styles follow the season. So more to come there. Keep in touch with us. Check us out on all of our social media sites, Untappd, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. All of these are rolling. Like, comment, and subscribe here on YouTube. Check the little bell icon You'll get notifications when we release new videos. Would love to see you all checking out what we have going on here. As always, if there's beers, if there's breweries, if there's things you'd like us to review, or if you have thoughts on anything we've reviewed here, post those in the comments. We'd love to hear from you. Outside of that, we'll see you on the flip side. Look for our next video coming soon. Thanks
everyone. Have a good one.
Bye. You don't have to say that.
Well, it's part of it, though. It's literally said.
Okay, if you want to say that.
That's then sourced through HBC, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not wrong here.
You're not wrong.
The hops come from Yakima.
That's true.
What are you saying?